On February 15, 1961, a tragic aviation disaster unfolded near Brussels, Belgium, when Sabena Flight 548, a Boeing 707-329 registered as 00SJB, crashed during its approach to Brussels airport. The flight, which originated in New York with a stopover in Brussels en route to Prague, carried 72 passengers and crew members, along with one person on the ground who perished in the aftermath of the crash. The impact of the disaster was felt far beyond the immediate loss of life, as the passengers included the entire U.S. figure skating team, along with coaches, family members, and officials who were traveling to the 1961 World Figure Skating Championships in Czechoslovakia. The sudden and violent end to their journey not only devastated the families and friends of those on board, but also sent shockwaves through the international figure skating community and the broader public, marking one of the darkest days in the history of both aviation and sports. The Boeing 707, a relatively new and advanced jet airliner at the time, had departed from Idlewild Airport, now John F. Kennedy International Airport, in New York on February 14, 1961. The transatlantic flight was operated by Sabena, Belgium's national airline, and was under the command of an experienced crew. The captain, Louis Lambrechts, was a veteran pilot with extensive flying hours, and the co-pilot, Jean Roy, was also highly trained. The flight proceeded without any reported issues until it began its descent into Brussels. Weather conditions at the time were poor, with low visibility due to fog, but they were not severe enough to warrant extreme concern. As the aircraft made its final approach, something went catastrophically wrong. Eyewitnesses on the ground reported seeing the plane flying unusually low before it suddenly nosedived into a field near the village of Berg, approximately 6 miles from the airport. The impact was so violent that the aircraft disintegrated upon hitting the ground, leaving no survivors. The wreckage was scattered across a wide area, and the force of the crash ignited a fierce fire that complicated rescue and recovery efforts. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but there was little they could do other than secure the site and begin the grim task of identifying the victims. The scale of the destruction made it difficult to determine the exact sequence of events that led to the crash, and investigators faced a challenging task in piecing together what had happened. The investigation into the crash was led by Belgian authorities, with assistance from the U.S. Civil Aeronautics Board, a predecessor to the NTSB, and Boeing. Early findings suggested that the aircraft's controls may have malfunctioned, possibly due to a mechanical failure in the stabilizer trim system, which could have caused the plane to pitch downward uncontrollably. Another theory considered was that the pilots, struggling with the poor visibility, may have become disoriented and lost control of the aircraft. However, without the black box flight recorders that are standard in modern aviation, investigators had to rely heavily on physical evidence and witness accounts, leaving some questions unanswered. The human toll of the disaster was immense. Among the passengers were 18 members of the U.S. figure skating team, including some of the nation's most promising young athletes. The team had been training rigorously for the World Championships, which were to be held in Prague just days after the crash. The roster included national champions and rising stars such as Lawrence Owen, the reigning U.S. ladies champion, Bradley Lord, the men's champion, and the pairs team of Maribel Owen and Dudley Richards. Their coaches, including the legendary Maribel Vincent Owen, a former Olympian and one of the most respected figures in American skating, also perished. The loss was so devastating that the U.S. team withdrew from the competition, and the event was cancelled altogether as a mark of respect. The tragedy had a profound impact on the sport of figure skating in the United States. In the immediate aftermath, the U.S. Figure Skating Association, now U.S. Figure Skating, faced the daunting task of rebuilding its programs and supporting the families of the victims. A memorial fund was established to assist the survivors and to honor the legacy of those who died. The crash also led to increased scrutiny of aviation safety protocols, particularly for flights carrying sports teams and other groups. In the years that followed, the U.S. skating community slowly recovered, but the loss of an entire generation of talent left a void that took years to fill. The broader implications of the crash extended beyond the skating world. It was one of the first major accidents involving a Boeing 707, an aircraft that represented the dawn of the jet age in commercial aviation. The disaster prompted reviews of the aircraft's design and operational procedures, particularly in adverse weather conditions. While the exact cause of the crash was never definitively determined, the tragedy underscored the importance of continuous improvements in aviation safety, including better pilot training, enhanced maintenance protocols, and the eventual adoption of flight data recorders to aid in accident investigations. Memorials were erected to honor the victims, including a monument at the crash site in Belgium and a tribute at the U.S. Figure Skating Hall of Fame. The legacy of those who died lives on in the skating community, where their memories are invoked as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of perseverance in the face of adversity. The 1961 World Championships, which were never rescheduled, remain a poignant what-if in the history of the sport, as the skaters who perished were widely expected to achieve great success on the international stage. The emotional aftermath of the crash was captured in media coverage and personal accounts from those who knew the victims. Families were left to grieve not only their loved ones, but also the unfulfilled potential of young athletes who had dedicated their lives to their sport. The skating community, known for its close-knit nature, rallied together in solidarity, but the pain of the loss lingered for decades. Annual memorials and tributes continue to be held, ensuring that the story of Sabena Flight 548 is not forgotten. In the years since the disaster, aviation safety has improved dramatically, with advancements in technology, training, and regulatory oversight making air travel one of the safest modes of transportation. However, the lessons of past tragedies, like Sabena Flight 548, remain relevant. The crash serves as a somber reminder of the risks inherent in early jet travel and the importance of learning from disasters to prevent future ones. For the families of the victims and the skating community, February 15, 1961, remains a day of mourning and reflection, a moment frozen in time when the world lost not just an airplane, but a generation of dreams and aspirations. The story of Sabena Flight 548 is not just about the mechanics of a crash, but about the lives that were cut short and the enduring impact of their loss on those they left behind.